So the last time I looked at a Samaritan who, along with 9 other presumably Jewish lepers, so altogether 10 lepers, they were healed by Jesus. But only the Samaritan returned and gave thanks and worshiped Jesus. And today we're going to look at 2 other incidents of one is considered a exorcism, but you could also put it into the category of healing of mental health. And then another is a real physical healing. And I've titled the message Faith of the Foreigners, because the incidents relate to the faith of a foreigner, and it is that faith which led to the healing of the person who was afflicted. And so here I have a map from the ESV, and this ESV is has also a note about Jesus's ministry beyond Israel. Almost all of Jesus' ministry took place within the traditional borders of Israel in areas dominated by Jews. Yet Jesus also traveled to the region of Tyre and Sidon, where he healed a Gentile woman's daughter, and to the region of Decapolis, where he healed many people. It was also at the extreme northern border of Israel at Caesarea Philippi that Peter made his confession that you are the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus declared, on this rock I will build my church. So I have listed 4 groups of foreigners. So first, Samaritans, they lived in Samaria, which is right in the middle of Israel. And then there's the Gentile residents in the town of Gadara in the Galilee region. And you see here the map, and you see the number 2, that's where they were. And then there's Gentile visitors, such as the Roman centurion who lived in Capernaum, and that's number 3 here. And then Gentile outside Israel proper, so outside of Israel's borders. And you can see this arrow going all the way up to here along the coast, the Mediterranean coast, and you see Sidon at the top and then Tyre further down, and that's number 4. So we're going to look at this number 3 and number 4. Roman centurion in Capernaum and the Canaanite woman in Tyre, Sidon. First, the Canaanite woman, and this is found in Matthew 15. You also see the same account in Mark 7. There, the woman is called a Syro-Phoenician woman. Syro-Phoenician because Syria, Phoenicia, that area is where Tyre and Sidon is located. But they call her a Canaanite woman in this passage in Matthew. I'll read the passage. And Jesus went away from there and withdrew to the district of Tyre and Sidon. And behold, a Canaanite woman from that region came out and was crying, have mercy on me, O Lord, Son of David. My daughter is severely oppressed by a demon. But he did not answer her a word. And his disciples came and begged him, saying, send her away, for she is crying out after us. He answered, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But she came and knelt before him, saying, Lord, help me. And he answered, it is not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. She said, yes, Lord, yet even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall off from the master's table. Then Jesus answered her, O woman, great is your faith. Be it done for you as you desire. And her daughter was healed instantly. Now you see, in Mark, actually, it says that her daughter suffers. Okay, and then here in the final verse, it says that her daughter was healed. So it's a combination of exorcism and healing. I just want to note some points here. So first of all, Jesus is in a Gentile region, and hence a Gentile woman meets him. But you also see that she has heard of Jesus, and she comes in humility asking, have mercy on me, O Lord. And then she has some knowledge of Jesus and Judaism because she calls him Son of David. And then you notice that the disciples are asking Jesus to send her away, but Jesus says to them, I was sent only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So Jesus is now speaking to the disciples, and his focus is on the spiritual needs of the Jews, and he wants to make sure that his disciples understand that he is not here to just help anybody and everybody. And so he makes that point. And then, the woman persists in asking Jesus's help. And so Jesus says that, it's not right to take the children's bread and throw it to the dogs. Now here, the Greek word that Jesus uses, according to my ESV Bible, says that it's just a more affectionate term for domestic pets. So it's not really an insult. It's more like he's testing her faith. And then finally, when she insists that yes, only Jesus can help, and Jesus is able to help, then Jesus commends her faith. He recognizes that she persists and she maintains her faith, and so he commends her faith. And then we see that her daughter was healed instantly, but we don't see that the daughter was there. And so the daughter is healed, but Jesus wasn't at her side, so we don't see the daughter there. And so that's one instance of a foreigner asking Jesus for help, and she has faith. She's not herself, she's not sick, but she has faith in Jesus. And so when you're not sick and yet you have faith in Jesus to heal, that's great faith. And so rightly Jesus commends her faith. And then we see the passage, Luke 7:1-10. Jesus heals a centurion's servant. I'll read this passage. After he had finished all his sayings in the hearing of the people, he entered Capernaum. Now a centurion had a servant who was sick and at the point of death, who was highly valued by him. When the centurion heard about Jesus, he sent to him elders of the Jews, asking him to come and heal his servant. And when they came to Jesus, they pleaded with him earnestly, saying, "He's worthy to have you do this for him, for he loves our nation, and he's the one who built us our synagogue." And Jesus went with them. When he was not far from the house, the centurion sent friends, saying to him, "Lord, do not trouble yourself, for I am not worthy to have you come under my roof. Therefore I did not presume to come to you. But say the word, and let my servant be healed. For I too am a man set under authority, with soldiers under me. And I say to one, 'Go,' and he goes, and to another, 'Come,' and he comes, and to my servant, 'Do this,' and he does it." When Jesus heard these things, he marveled at him, and turning to the crowd that followed him, said, "I tell you, not even in Israel have I found such faith." When those who had been sent returned to the house, they found the servant well. So here are some points. First of all, he's a Gentile centurion who lives in Capernaum, but he's a very caring person. He's caring for his servant, right? And he has built a synagogue for the Jews, and he has a good reputation. So the Jews want Jesus to do this man a favor because they think that he's worthy. And the centurion had faith in Jesus and had believed that the power of Jesus' word is enough to heal his servant. But look at what the Jews are saying, that the centurion's worthy to be helped. So they have this idea that people who are worthy to be helped should be helped. But if you look further down at verse 6, at the last part where I have underlined, "I am not worthy," the centurion himself doesn't believe that. He shows humility in front of Jesus, towards Jesus. And he has a right understanding of grace. Grace is where, unmerited favor from God, and unmerited favor from the Messiah, Jesus, is what the centurion is expecting, and he's showing humility. But the Jews, they don't look at it that way. They think, okay, this man has done these great things for us, therefore he's worthy to be, helped. But Jesus commends this centurion's faith, and it says Jesus marveled at him. And he says, "I have not found faith like this in Israel." So that's a great compliment. And then the servant is healed. And once again, Jesus wasn't at the side of the servant, but the servant is healed. So here we have two instances of foreigners being healed. Sorry, the foreigners asking Jesus for help to heal somebody that they know of. And Jesus accords their request and gives that healing to the person because of the faith that they had in him. And so I have some notes here. The point that I think we see from these two instances of the foreigner asking Jesus for help and receiving that help is highlighted because here great faith is found in a non-Jew. Okay, a non-Jew has great faith in Jesus, but usually it's contrasted with the Jewish people's lack of faith in Jesus. So that's something to be remembered, right? And so I just want to look at this passage in Luke chapter 4, verse 24 to 28, when Jesus begins his ministry in Nazareth. After he had read the scroll of Isaiah, he sat down and in the synagogue, he says, and he said, "Truly I say to you, no prophet is acceptable in his hometown. But in truth, I tell you, there were many widows in Israel in the days of Elijah when the heavens were shut up 3 years and 6 months, and a great famine came over all the land. And Elijah was sent to none of them, but only to Zarephath in the land of Sidon, to a woman who was a widow. And there were many lepers in Israel in the time of the prophet Elisha, and none of them was cleansed, but only Naaman the Syrian. When they heard these things, all in the synagogue were filled with wrath." And then later on, it says that they tried to push Jesus over a cliff, but Jesus somehow, moved in their midst and escaped from there. And so my second point that I'd like to talk about here is, even though it says these non-Jews had great faith, it's not really the amount of faith, right? Because we saw other instances where people had little faith and they were healed, and people had more faith and they were also healed. And then, Jesus raised people from the dead. So dead people don't have any faith at all, right? So it's not the amount of faith that's important, but who you have faith in, right? So if we have faith in Jesus, that's the most important thing. It's not how much faith we have. It may be little, but it may be a lot. But we must have faith in Jesus. And finally, faith goes together with humility when we ask for something from Jesus, because after all, we recognize our unworthiness and our sinfulness when we come in humility before Jesus. This is Jesus, the Son of God, and everything that God gives us is by his grace. And so we come before him recognizing our unworthiness, our sinfulness in humility and in faith. And so with that, we will pray.